Okay, so we're going to make our multiplication chart spreadsheet. So navigate to your computer class folder and My Sheets, and then we're going to click New Google Sheets. So the first thing we're going to do, title your spreadsheet. Oops. Multiplication chart. The next thing you're going to do is I want you to click your mouse or click the cell A1. I want you to type multiplication chart and hit enter. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and merge our cells. I want you to highlight, you can either click A1, hold shift and click K1, or you can click and hold in A1 and drag over to K1. But I want you to select the whole top row and we're going to merge. Then I want you to center your text. So these lines with, lined up against the side, these are our alignment buttons, alignment commands. I want you to center it. I want you to make the font at least 24. Pick something cool. Play around with the color. Make that title look interesting. And when you feel ready, you're ready for the next step. Okay, so now we're actually going to start creating our multiplication chart. So what we're going to do is I want you to go to B3. And you're going to type the number 1. Click in C3, type the number 2. D3, the number 3. 4, and you're going to fill all the way into 10. Now to get from cell to the right, I could click tab. So if I click tab, it goes to the right. I can click the right arrow and it goes to the right. Or you can just click your mouse. So we want the numbers 1 through 10 across row 3. And then go back to column A. And I want you to click in A4. You're going to type the number 1, enter, 2, enter, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, here's the next thing. We need everything to look a little better visually. So what we're going to do is we're going to change some sizes. So I want you to take your mouse and you're going to click on the letter A. We're clicking on the title, the column heading for A. So click the letter A and the whole column should be highlighted. And I want you to hold shift and click K. That highlights everything. We're going to do some resizing. So I want you to put your mouse in between the A and the B. We're going to shrink it down somewhere around there. You can kind of eyeball it. Now, if you noticed, did you see how all of those columns that I had highlighted all changed size? Normally, if I just put my mouse in between, I would just change the column that I'm touching. But if you highlight multiple columns, you can size them all at the same time, which is pretty awesome. Next, I want you to highlight row 3, hold shift and click row 13. That selects all the rows that I have with my numbers 1 through 10. And you're going to take your mouse in between like 3 and 4. You're going to click and drag and you're going to make those boxes larger. Your goal is to have each of these cells about the size of a square. All right, our next step is going to be to start filling in this multiplication chart. Now, you are not going to do any math. I know that you know your multiplication facts, but this is not a test of multiplication facts. We want the spreadsheet to do the work for us. So what I want you to do is I want you to get your mouse and I want you to click in B4. This will be the cell where we look at 1 times 1. Now I know you know 1 times 1 is 1. But again, we're going to make the computer do the work for us. So up in your formula bar, it's right up here where it says FX, right above the A. I want you to type an equal sign. Anytime you type an equal sign in a spreadsheet, that tells the computer that you want it to calculate something. I want this to calculate whatever's in A4, so we're going to click A4. So I want this to multiply whatever number is in this box times, now to do times, it's Shift 8. You're going to do the little star button. So A4 times B3. And you know you're right because you have, these are the two numbers we're multiplying. Hit enter. And you get the number 1. Let's do it in B5. So B5 is going to equal A5 times B4, B3. 2. Pretty cool. Equals A3 times B3 equals. Pretty cool. But can you imagine how long that would take to type all of these things over and over and over again? It'd be pretty crazy. I want you to do something. Click on B6, where it's the number 3 here. If you look at the bottom right corner, there's a little blue box. Now, if I move my mouse around, once I get it over the blue box, I get a little plus sign. Once you get the plus sign, I want you to click, hold, and drag down and let go. Now, if we look at this is not right. 1 times 5 is not 10. Something weird happened. Let's look at our formula. If I click up in the formula bar, it'll highlight which boxes got clicked. And if you notice, something very weird happened here. It's the wrong cell. Okay. We have 2 options. I could go in and I could fix this and say B3, which is better, but it's still a lot of work. So let's look at what's happening. My orange number, my row is okay. It's this column is moving down. If we look at this one, do you see how the column is moving down? Here's what we can do. I want you to click back on B4. So the A did not change, but the B did. There's a little trick. The B's not changing, but this 3 right here was. This number was moving down. I want you to put a $sign in between the B and the 3. and I want you to hit enter. Then I want you to click and drag down. Look at that, fixed. What that dollar sign does is that dollar sign says, don't move. I want you to stay at B3. Don't move B3, stay there. We want our A to move. A5, A6, A7, A8. We want the A to move because I'm moving down. I don't want the B to move. That's it. Okay. So now let's tackle our next column, our 2's. And we're going to say equals A4 times A2. Excuse me, C3. Make sure that works correctly. Now we're going to do our copy, but before we can copy, remember, my numbers are going to change. I want my A's to change because my A's go from A4 down to A5 to A6 to A7, but I don't want my C to move. I want it to stay C3. So in order to stay C3, I've got to put a dollar sign in front of my 3. That'll lock in the location. Put my little mouse in the corner, drag it down, and double check your math. Make sure everything calculated correctly. So what you're going to do next is you're going to continue each column. I want you to get the whole multiplication chart completed. So you should have the whole chart completed with all the correct answers. Okay, double check yourself. 7 times 7 is 49. Everything's perfect. So the last thing we're going to do is just a few details just to make the chart look nice. I want you to select my top row, so B3 to K3, and let's make the font 14 and bold. And I want you to select the first column, make the text 14 and bold. That way it's really easy to see where your factors are. 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, feel free to add any more interesting formatting to your file. And when you're happy, you'll turn it in through Google Classroom. And that's it.